Hey folks, I'm outside. I gotta do some work on the truck. My starter's giving me a hard time. Probably heard it kind of zinging whenever I started it. Partly it needs to be shimmed. Chevy starters, sometimes you can shim them. Brings the alignment better up to the ring gear. And then mine needs that. It needed that. But it's got another problem where the solenoid isn't always kicking out on it. You can't just buy the solenoid anymore, it seems. So I got to replace the starter. To that end, I had to buy a starter. I've been putting this off for a couple of years. Now it's just to the point where I'm kind of taking a stab in the dark if it's going to catch every time. So, I have one in the truck, but I had to get some tools. So I went to the local Harbor Freight next town over. And I got some stuff. So I'm going to put you down on the tailgate of the truck here, show you what I got, and show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to do some reviews along the way on some Harbor Freight stuff, and not sponsored by them by any means. I bought this stuff with my own money, and some generously from the folks who watch my videos and put up with the ads and that sort of thing, and buying from my Amazon store and that kind of thing. But that's how I pay for this stuff. So I'm also on the new camera, so you shouldn't hear all the crickets in the background. Anyway, I'm going to put you down on the end gate here, and I got another project sitting on the end gate that you'll get a little preview of that too. It's a restoration project, so it's kind of cool. So I'll be back in a sec. That is a old Sears Craftsman joiner. I haven't done any looking up on it yet. This thing popped up on Facebook this morning on the what the heck do they call it, the marketplace or whatever it is, and it was free. It has the base, everything came with it. There was also a table saw, small table saw, and a radial arm saw. And a buddy of mine called me up and said, "Scotty, got some free stuff to go get. I need some help." I hang around with a bunch of old guys, and well, we always need help, so we help each other out. So we jumped in his truck, went over there. He didn't tell me about the joiner, but it was there and I wanted it. I have some woodshop equipment over at my son-in-law's, my daughter's house, and just because he's got a bigger garage than I do, and that's where we keep it. So I'm going to do a restoration on this because it is the old style one, and by gosh, these things are made good. They were made decent, and well, I don't know what else you can say about them. It's solid cast iron. This is none of that plastic or aluminum crap. This is solid cast iron piece of machinery, and it just needs a little restoration. Knock the rust off it and stuff, and it should be good to go. The motor is in the base, and it's run by belt. It even came with the belt. So I just need to spin this thing up and you know, see how she works. But I'm going to clean it all up, get the rust off it, and resurface the deck and all that kind of good stuff, and resurface the fence and make sure everything is in spec on it, so to speak, before we put it into action. But if you want to see the video on the restoration, drop a comment down below and let me know. Other than that, let's get to these Harbor Freight tools and such here and see what we got going on. So this is the Pittsburgh 225 piece mechanics toolkit. Now I'm going to guarantee you, having been a mechanic professionally, there is no mechanics toolkit that is going to be 225 pieces. I promise you that. But I look at the picture and it looks like there's enough to get you out of a jam anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up, take a look at what's in there, and we'll go from there. We'll see what we got going on. This is a nice little, I call it a Leatherman pouch. Originally it was a magazine pouch. I keep my Leatherman in here. I made this a very long time ago. I don't know if I did this on my channel or not, but it's a wet molded case for my Leatherman with a belt clip on it. Pretty slick. If you want to see something like that on my channel, let me know. I can do a video on that. As far as wrenches and stuff go, I've never bought Harbor Freight tools. You see here a couple of sockets that are not where they belong. They belong down here. That's okay though. I expect like that. And right off the bat, I don't know how much of this, can you see everything? I can't see in my viewfinder. The sun is kind of, the sun tints my glasses and then I can't see in it. So I like the little padding in here. I like that a lot. It's just kind of a nice little touch. It's probably a throwaway deal, but, and it's actually kind of a heavy kit. But as I'm looking, these look like quarter drive. There's actually quite a bit in here. I'm kind of surprised. Some of this loud trucks and crap. So it seems like every now and again you need to have a crescent wrench handy, or an adjustable wrench as it should be called. Crescent again is a brand name, but sometimes you just need one. This is not high quality. I can feel that in it, but you know what, sometimes you don't need high quality, you just need that crescent wrench. Diagonal cutters, you always need those. And these are things that my previous kit didn't have. A needle nose. It's a big needle nose, also with a cutter in it, so that's pretty handy. Again, these are things that my other kit didn't have. What we got here? Oh, for a nut driver, because you got the nut driver, screwdriver handle, and so these make it into a nut driver, standard and metric. Very, very handy. And the stuff that goes in this side really sticks in there nice. I see why they have the which way you got to open it. The handle on this feels pretty comfortable. Kind of like that. Screwdriver bits up here. Hex keys, square drives, Torx, Phillips, 1, 2, and 3 Phillips, standards. And it's even got the adapter to go to 1/4-inch drive. And it's got more than one Phillips. I like that. Oh, PZ Phillips. Oh, what the heck did we used to call those? I don't even remember now. They're a special Phillips, and I don't know if that'll show up in the video. They got a different kind of a tip to them. I can't remember, gosh, what we used to call them. But you'd find them on the chrome that held in the fenders, on the fender, the screws that held that fender chrome on way back. And the door trim chrome, the bottom door trim, or the aluminum trim panels. Those screws would be what would hold those, and if you used a regular screw on them, a lot of times you just round them out. If you had the right screwdriver, you'd get them out easy. The sockets actually look pretty good. These are all 6-point. They're marked real well. I do like that the numbers are big, so even a blind guy like me can see it. I wish there was some contrast to it, but it's big enough to see. We've got 1/2-inch drive, and it looks like we go up to, it says 24 millimeter, which is nice. We've got some open box end wrenches up to 16 millimeter. Now, why they don't have a 17 in there is beyond me. Most wrench sets will go up to 19 millimeter. They'll skip 16 altogether. And there's not a 15 millimeter. 15 is really common on GMs. In fact, I know when I do my starter, I do believe the 2 starter bolts that come up into the starter, hold the starter to the block, I believe those are 15 millimeter. So I'm not going to have that wrench. But as long as I do have the socket, I do have the deep well socket, and then we've got shallow well sockets, the ratchet, well, it feels like it's 80 whatever tooth it is. Push button release. I like the push button release because you know, they seem to stay on better and they come off easier. So if you got to switch it when you're sitting under the truck, you can just drop it off. I like that. And it comes with the 1/2-inch, the 3/8. Again, it's a nice fine adjustment. I like the throw lever on them. Makes it nice and easy. And it's got a 1/4 inch, which is kind of nice. My other kit had 3/8. That's all it had was a 3/8 ratchet. It was not anywhere near this complete. So you've got 2 3/8 drive extensions, 3-inch and 6-inch. You've got a 1/4 drive. You've got adapters to go from 1/2 to 3/8 and 3/8 to 1/4 inch. So many of the kits I've seen don't have swivels. And a lot of people don't like these things. They're handy when you need them. Every now and again you'll need them to change a spark plug or something. And a lot of these kits too don't have spark plug sockets. Here's the 5/8. And this should be 13/16. Yep. The only other spark plug socket that I've ever needed was I had an old Honda 750 that needed to be a thin-walled 18 millimeter socket, and the only place I could find one was Snap-on, so I had to buy a Snap-on socket. So other than that, it looks like it's a pretty reasonably decent kit here. So I'm gonna go ahead and get to these other tools. What do we got up in here? Didn't even look up here. Oh, hex keys. It's a bag of hex keys. This bag is marked as metric. So I'm going to assume that this one is SAE. That's kind of neat. Even though it's got them in here, you've still got your hex key sets. I like that. So it looks like, you know, it's a pretty thorough kit compared to some of the other ones I've looked at and some of the other ones I've owned that just haven't had enough stuff in them. These are Harbor Freight's Daytona jack stands. Now I saw some videos on these where these were an updated version from a previous version that had some issues with coming apart and causing some issues because they broke. They were cut out in the middle. I'll show you when I get them out here. And if I can find the video that I watched that had a direct comparison, that had both sets on the table, I'll link that down below. getting all this out of here right now. Set it down on the ground here. Really nicely packaged. All right, let's start unwrapping some of this. It's got a nice little saddle here. I like that. And this is solid steel, solid cast iron. It's kind of a nice thing to know when you're laying under a car that you got something good and solid there. And it looks really well forged. It says 3 ton on it. Get this out of our way too. Double locking pin jack stand. I might even look at that. One for the other stand. Let's see. So, the video that I watched showed how this double locking pin system works. And the way it works is you lock it in, this will lock in your stand, but then this pin can slide through as an extra lock and that'll slide in there so it can't come out either. And there's no way that this jack could come apart. There's no way that you can accidentally knock it down. So it's a pretty slick system, I think. So I kind of like that. I don't think that's going to come apart at all. I think I can trust that to hold my truck up. But the other ones were opened up out here, probably to keep the weight down, because these are fairly heavy jack stands. But like I said, this is a 3/4 ton full-size long box truck. I need something a little heavy duty. But when you've got it locked in place, right here is where this is a solid piece of steel. This isn't a hollowed out piece of steel. This is solid steel, and it slides right through there, so you can't lift this up. And you can't drop that jack down, whereas if you pull it out, you can drop it right down. So once you slide that in there, and this little pin goes through a small hole here. Now I'll try to zoom and show you all this again. And you stick that in there, then this pin don't even come out. I don't think you're going to have an issue with any problem here. I think this is going to be a nice set of jack stands to have. The other thing is this seam here, these welds on here too, by the way, look really nicely welded. And I'll take you in for some good looking at it. And these stretchers here are to keep the stand from splaying apart. And there's corner bracing in here at the corners. There's some bracing in there. My other stands, when you look at the feet kind of spread apart on it. Over the years, I've had them for 20 years or so. So I think these are going to be some nice jack stands. I'm going to show you around this other base here real quick. And I'll zoom you in a little here. All right, hopefully you can see this a little bit closer up, I guess. But here's that pin. And it's a very nice solid steel pin, and it just goes through this hole all the way through to hold to mesh up with the teeth on here, and allows you can't move this handle, at least not far enough to drop the jack. I do like too, there's a rubber little grip on here. That's kind of just a little icing on the cake, I guess you'd say. And then you have this little hole here that this pin goes through, to prevent this from being pulled out. So you actually have to think about it when you're pulling this out to let the truck down. I hope this is all in frame here, because by gosh, I can't see that viewfinder for nothing. So I really think that's going to be really a nice little add. My other set of jack stands is a pin that goes through a round tube, and they're just kind of cheap. The welding, all these welds, I'm sure they're done robotically, but they really look like nice welds. I am by far an expert when it comes to welds, but they look very nice. Here is that brace going across here to keep the two sides together. There's hopefully, I don't know if you can see it. It is welded all the way up on the seam, and there's a weld that goes across down here at the bottom of the seam. And here in the corner, these feet have a brace between them, and that's holding the bottoms together. So I think we got a really good set of stands here. That should let us get on with it. Well, here you go. This is the Pittsburgh low profile 3-ton jack, rapid pump even. I wanted the rapid pump because, well, I'm kind of lazy. I don't want to pump any more than I have to. So says it'll lift to 19 7/8 inches. I'm good with that. But I cut all the tape on it, so let's pop the top and see what we got going on. I have to get up, so hopefully I'm not in the way too much. Let's adjust a little. And the pieces. Literature. I keep all the literature. And I do check out reviews before I buy this stuff. And I read the reviews. I look at, you know, all the other goodies. Get this off. What's it say? Follow these instructions. Turn handle clockwise to open release valve. Remove 4 screws holding on pump cover. Remove oil fill plug and top off hydraulic oil. Good thing I stopped and picked up some oil. Not one of those jacks that you want to run around with. So there's 4 screws that hold this plate on. Let's dig into our mechanics tool set and grab a screwdriver. Now you can tell when you stick your screw in there, or your bit, or your screwdriver, if it doesn't wiggle around, that's probably the one you need. Safety valve, do not adjust. No, it doesn't tell me which one is going to be my, there's a screw here and a screw here, and it doesn't tell me which one is the one that I need to fill. So I'm going to have to crack open the book I believe it's the bigger of the two that's in the main cylinder. So let's crack the book open and I'll give it a quick read and I'll be right back. All right, I'm trying to have this as good as I can here. Here's the screw that I got to take out. And it does give you some instructions here on what to do. That is a big Phillips, so I'm going to use number 3. This screwdriver set, by the way, does give you 3 number 2 bits. That is the most common bit, and they probably don't want you to wreck it. There is an O-ring on there, and it looks pretty full. So there's a little stopper doodad here that has to come out. Ooh, that's spring loaded. And then this goes in here, but we will have to grab the crescent wrench here because I don't know what size that is. Get that to set it down in there. And this screw, or this bolt, has a goofy tip on it that will fit over this shank there. And will keep the handle from pulling out. Yep, so let's make sure she's loose. I don't have a funnel that will fit down in there, so I'm going to try my best to hit it. And that's not working. Good thing I grabbed a rag. Use your finger and stop it, and I can just, well, that didn't work as well as I'd hoped. Pretend you didn't see that. It tells me to put some pressure on the handle, or the saddle, which is the part where your car would be. Doesn't tell me to put the plug in there, but I'm thinking you got to put the plug in there to bleed it. I could be wrong about that, but apparently that's supposed to bleed it. And then top it off again. This is a messy process. If you're following their instructions, I don't think they're quite correct. But we should be bled out anyway. We're topped off. Screw this thing down snug again. You don't want to over tighten anything that's got a O-ring on it. Oh, they've got oil all over my tailgate. Oh well, just won't rust there, right? Close the valve. And we should be able to jack it up. Seems to be working. So the other half of the handle just has a quick release on it. That's kind of nice. And there we go. I'll put the cover back on it. We'll get her ready for use. I'll get some stuff cleaned up. All right, folks, there we go. Some new tools and equipment to replace some old tools and the equipment. Mostly want all of you to know that it wouldn't be possible without your support, watching my videos and, you know, putting up with the ads and stuff like that, my little antics and crappy videos and that kind of thing. I am striving to take care of some things and improve my video quality, let's say. I'm trying to learn some new editing software and trying to get some new workspace. Working on getting a different shop. It's all gonna be slow, but it's hopefully gonna happen sooner than later, I hope. I'm not counting on before fall anyway. Anyway, there's all that, and all that being said, y'all stay safe and God bless. Please know that I appreciate each and every one of you more than you can possibly know. And we'll catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching.